Hello everyone! So in this video I'm gonna show you how I restore some of my boxes for PC gaming. So on this box, the first thing that we have to do with every box is just to check on what's kind of the condition and to see what needs to be done. This is a kind of old game. It's pretty nice if anybody has played it. It's not very rare, but it still goes for quite a few dollars, and if you want to find it, it's gonna be a bit difficult. So let's check it out. The front, the flap is pretty okay. The inside is fine. The side here, there's a little bit of damage. The other side here, it's not that bad. There's some crease here that we'll try to fix. Here there's a little bit of an issue with the glue, so it's being a little bit torn on the side. This is pretty easy to fix. On the bottom here, usually the most of the damage of the boxes is around the corners where you open them. The parts become very flimsy, and this is especially evident on this corner here. So this flap is a problem. So this flap is pretty flimsy, and this reflects on the locking mechanism here for the box. So this is something that needs to be taken care of. And in general, the most difficult part would be to fix this edge here, because it's kind of torn. The structure of the box is bad, and the white part there's something that we need to figure out and restore the hardness of the edge here so that it can be properly closed. On the other side, there's it's still a bit flimsy, but this can be fixed up, no problem. The edges here the same. The one part that is hardly gonna be able to be fixed is the previous owner, I guess, has taken out the tape and left a mark here. Not a mark, it's basically thrown off part of the box. Now the only way to fix this kind of issue is to reprint this whole part and glue it. It can be done. We'll see if I can do it. The only issue with this is you have to nail, when you print this whole side, the exact nuance of the color. So if you print it a little bit brighter, it's gonna be very visible. So it's gonna be hard to print the exact color here. And yeah, this is not textured because the front, I don't know whether it's visible or you can tell, but the front is textured. So the back here has some glue residue, not ideal, but can be fixed. Overall, what needs to be done on this box is it has to be flattened out to fix the creases, then ironed, then some of the edges needs to be fixed and fix the flimsy part, and then correcting some of the whiteness where the print has been damaged, and then wrapped in something that will hold it together. The first thing that we have to do is remove the contents. So one thing that we can notice here is the insert is not proper for this box. So what do I mean is, if you see, the insert doesn't go all the way to the sides. If you see, this is here on the edge, but here it's not on the edge. It has a little bit of room left. So what other thing that can be done is we have to do a whole new insert for the box so that it can be properly supported from the inside. Now, this insert is very nice. It can be used as a template for all other box insert, and it design is pretty good because the disc is the main stuff that you see here when you open the box, so it's a nice presentation. And you open it up like this, you see the contents. I have a couple of copies, so we'll put them aside. And this is basically your whole insert, and you can use it as a template. You can get a cardboard and just cut it according to this template with a little bit of changes in sizing. Here, for example, we need to make it a little bit wider, so this part, if we cut a new insert, it will be cut until here. We will measure it, but this will be this wide, but the rest of the parts, this size will be the same. This size will be also the same, this one, and so forth. So let's remove this and this other part. So the first thing that we need to do, in order to flatten the box, we need to open it up all the way, and because this is sealed from the bottom, if you can see, there's still tape here. So removing the tape, this is one of the scariest stuff that you can do from a box, because this is where you can fuck up your box. You can do this to the box. So in order to avoid it, let me just remove one part. I already printed some sides. Let's see if we're gonna use them. So the first thing that you have to know is, you never, if this is cut with a knife, never peel from here. Never start peeling from this part of the box, because you're gonna start tearing up from here. Always peel from the inside and then go very slow. And the other thing is, you have to be extremely slow and patient. And keep in mind, if you start peeling off and you start peeling off from the box, stop right now and don't go any further. Not every box is not all the stickers can be removed from boxes. This is depending on the type of box it is, but yeah, you can just, if you start peeling off something from the box, make sure that it doesn't damage the box. If it starts damaging it, just leave it there and don't remove the sticker. So the thing that you can use for removing stickers is a hair dryer. So the thing is, I don't have a hair dryer, I have a heat gun. This is not very recommended because the heat gun goes up until 600 degrees Celsius, and you have to be kind of careful not to burn the box or yourself with it. So we're gonna start from, we have to heat the tape. So once the tape is very warm, the glue will start to loosen, and peeling off the tape is going to be a way easier and more, it's going to be safer than not using it at all. So I'm gonna start gluing a little bit, start heating it a little bit and peeling it off. See how it starts to give. Now I'm starting to see resistance here. That's because the tape has cooled off. So heat again, then peel. So the good thing is, if you can see, it started to being removed from here as well. So we're gonna heat this part here so that I can peel off this edge here and start removing it from here. So we're near the end. A small tip here. When you're near the end, never continue to remove it and just pull it at once. Start peeling from the corner until we go down. And there is very little part here. Just the tip is being removed at once. This is because at the end there is a possibility to take part of the box as well, and if it's part of the box goes, I prefer to be a small dot instead of a line. Here it goes. So now we can open it from the bottom. So the next part is we have to clean it up. We have to, there is a sticky residue still, so we have to remove the sticky residue, and everywhere else there's signs of previous residue as here. For this I have label and sticker remover. It's pretty basic, you can buy it everywhere. So here there is a very interesting characteristics of some boxes that have flaps like this. They're easier to bend on one side than on their other side. This is due to the flap spine. So try to find which way is easier, doesn't give that much resistance for the box, and bend it that way. And this is how you're gonna be flattening the box and ironing it. So that's pretty important. So as you can see, there's residue on the other side that we have to remove, but let's start from here first. And now this is ready to be flattened and ironed out. What we need to make sure that we do is every edge we need to make sure that it's flattened out like this. And yeah, once this is done, we can continue to the next phase. So now what you're gonna need is an iron and a cloth. So we don't want to use the iron directly on the box, so what we're gonna use is we're gonna use this cloth to cover the box, and then we're gonna iron on top of it. But first let's make sure that all the edges are properly set, not to be like this, and to be properly set like this. I think that's good. Cover the box, then start sprinkling water. Okay, this is becoming very nice. Again, I'm gonna turn it again. This way, when you flatten the box, you can clearly see all the imperfections of the box. I mean, everything that you see in white, it's a problem that will be addressed one way or another. So this is a crease. The crease here, it's very problematic to hide it. We're gonna try and do something about it, but overall, for now it looks fine. I'm gonna give it one more ironing, and then we're gonna be done with that part. The good thing is with the water and with ironing, the fibers become very soft, so this starts to become from cardboard to normal printing paper until it really dries off. And once we are done with the flattening, it should be pretty good to continue forward. We have to put something on the top to make sure it dries out and it's flat. So check your cloth. If it's kind of dry, you can use it to place it on top, and especially the parts here. And what you can do is place something heavy so that it remains flat. This is not gonna be enough, so we put here more, maybe a bit more. It's very good. Maybe a bit more, and well, for good measure. Okay, so let's see what's happening. So overall, everything is going very well. The discoloration here, not ideal, but the most important part is that everything is flat and ready for the next phase. So in the next phase, we're gonna need the following items: PVA glue. This is typical glue for wood. Some brushes, and the most important part, parchment paper. So this is very important because the cool thing about the parchment paper is that it doesn't stick to glue. So that's very important because when you're starting to glue some stuff, you don't want to glue your box in the places that you don't want to. So let's start cutting out a little bit of the parchment paper and dealing with the glue. What this part is becoming was very flimsy, but now is pretty okay, but we're still gonna use the glue to make it even better. So we're gonna put some glue here on the edges, here as well, and on the bottom here also, to make it a little bit more stiff, because as you can see, this is not like okay. Once this is done, we're gonna put some pressure again with whatever you have and leave it for several hours. And we'll come back in 12 hours to see how it is. Okay, let's see. As you see, the parchment paper hasn't sticking. This is now pretty solid. So we're gonna do the other part here. So let's see what's happening. Good, this hasn't stuck. This is totally fine. This one as well. I also glued this part. So we fixed the rigidness of the edges, which is very nice. One thing I noticed last time was that due to the ironing, which is kind of a mistake of mine, probably it was a little bit too hot, so the color started to fade a bit. Especially this part started to become white. I played around and what you can do to fix this, because right now it's almost fixed, it looks very nice, but the parts were here almost white. It becomes like this, a bit of discoloration, and on this part as well. What you can do in these situations is very interesting. It's a lighter fluid, it's basically gas, and this can be used to restore faded color, as long as the color is already there but it's faded. So what you do is you pour a bit on the places that the color is, not a lot, very low, then start rubbing it in. And you can see on these places the color it's popping up again, which is very nice. Here it's a little bit whiter, so here. And if you can notice, the color has now become perfect. The thing is, I try to do this here, and temporarily it goes fine, but then, if you can see, it's very well, but it will dry off and return almost to the exact condition. Maybe it could be a little bit better, so it would be worth just trying it out. The bad thing is the cardboard smells like gas. So but it will, just leave it near a window and it will be fine. Let's see what happens when we now close the case. So the shape of the box is very nice. It's here, I can feel it's a lot sturdier here. The crease is fixed, and the only thing after wrapping it up will be fixed with time. It's a little bit not ideal. For example, as you can see, this part is not, but once we finish it up, after time, this will be fine. So the next part is fixing up the little issues, like here, and everywhere else. So let's get started. So what you're gonna need for this part is something like this. So it's basically self-explanatory. You find the core palette on the parts you want to fix and you start drawing. Here we are close to this core palette, so we're gonna use this part. Get a blank piece of paper. Why? Because you need to try out which is going to be the best color for any place. So here, for example, this looks black, but it's actually kind of gray. So I'm gonna get the cover. I'm gonna do it like this. And I'm gonna compare if this cover matches perfectly. And as far as I can see, it is fine. So it's very important not to overdo it. If you use this pencil or any kind of marker on places that are quite a bit large, it will be very evident. But on small places like this, you will not notice it, especially if you're looking at it from a distance. Now, this edge is going to be problematic because, as I mentioned, if it's too big of an area with the marker, it will show. Overall, it's better to show black instead of this white cardboard. It's going to be 10 times less visible, but that's kind of be the worst situation. Even if it's black, it's better than white. There is a different option that I was considering on doing this part, is to reprint this edge on a very thin piece of paper. And I'll see if I'll do it, but for the time being I'm just gonna go ahead and just brush this off. And maybe in the if I go back to it and see if I can improve it even further, I'll do something about it. But for the time being I'm just gonna go and finish this off. One thing I forgot to mention is the PVA glue has a very cool property. Once it dries off, it becomes invisible, transparent, and even if you smudged somewhere on the box, it can be with tissue paper and some water, or with a nail you can remove it. It's very easily removed, so it's very forgiving. So let's take a look at how the box looks like right now. I'm very happy how this turned out. This was terrible here, and it didn't lock. Overall, very poor condition there. So yeah, except for the upper part, I have an idea, but maybe in some other video. So let's go and start completing the stuff. So for the next part and final part is the sealing part. So the sealing part is a bit of a controversial for some people because they think it might damage with time the box, but as long as it's not in direct sunlight, it shouldn't be a problem. So what you're gonna need: shrink wrap, heat gun, and finally sealant. So let's get started. You grab your box with the seal, move it here, make sure the seal holds. And now it is sealed. Then we cut this part. And now comes the most satisfying part of the sealing. Shrink wrap. And we're done. Now we have a complete copy sealed for Alice, and let's take a look at how it looks. This part here was very problematic, but now it looks fine. Very pleased about that. And the back. So one thing the seal does really well is it squishes the box a bit, but it helps it retain its form. So even if the flap is problematic, it doesn't close well, the seal would fix that up. With a little bit of time, it will be great. But until that point, Alice is now complete.